Hi,
Hey, Rich.
how are you?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Uh, I was just logging in a little bit earlier. um, how's everything with you? Did you rent the place?
Sorry?
Were you able to rent out the place?
Um, yeah, it seems like it.
Good. That's good. That's nice.
And how are your wedding
Yeah.
preparations going?
Man, I can't rent out my place. So I got two people got rejected. So oh, so I can't move in and I can't make preparations. you know. So far we
Oh,
only got engaged. Nothing else happened.
wow.
It's a big deal too, but hopefully by the end of the year, we'll. I have to rent out my place. Her condition is we have to live in together, and then after that, we will set the date. I was like, well,
Yeah,
things are.
no, I mean that makes perfect sense because you have to see whether you can actually like make a marriage work.
Oh yeah, that's true. I never lived with that. She has two very nice puppies, and I love them to death. But one is like 14 years old, Bijan, cute. Another one is 9 year old, and so they come with a little bit of quirks. So, but I love them to death. So, but I never lived with the dogs before. So it's gonna be something.
Yeah.
So listen, thank you for you know, me and you, I guess, talking to Robert. I appreciate it.
It like look, I think our personalities balance each other out, right? You tend to be the person who goes out and finds new possibilities for us. You're an aggressive marketer, that's sort of your thing. And I tend to be the one with the silver tongue. So I think between the two of us, I think it's a good team.
Yeah, great. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And he's receptive. I think it's just timing for him is the issue, where he doesn't have time to promote it. He wants to promote them. But in
I, I
most
I
cases,
I think there's sort of two things at the same time. The first one is that we do a lot of events and series now, and I don't think that he feels comfortable promoting all of them, because one, they're done by different people, so they're different formats. But two, they take up a lot of time on the calendar, right? And so that those will cover up the things that he's doing. And so like I get that, like I get that he doesn't want every one of our events to be on his Washington D.C. group. That's completely normal. The one thing that I asked of him is that could he send an email to the DC group telling them about the New York Museum group? Because if they sign up to that, then they can see all of our events. And the thing is that he has a lot of people in his DC group, but of the people that he has, most of them don't RSVP to things. He has a few hundred active members, and those are the phenomenal people who show up, to these presentations, to his presentations. And it's just that you need that core group of, let's say, 300 people where 15% of them will show up on any given event, and then you have a base of 40 that shows up everywhere, right? Because that 15% of 300 is around 40 people.
right.
So that's basically what it is. But um I really appreciate how much he's actually supported our group and helped our group. And so I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm also personally very excited about Vuk's presentation on Yugoslavia. I hope that goes well. My plan was to moderate that, like sort of as a backup. I don't know if he's ever moderated a presentation before or not. And this is something that Aaron and I have talked about. It's a little difficult for most people to be reading the comments, giving the presentation, handling who's entering and who's leaving at the same time, because most people just sort of have like that I need to present mindset and sort of they block everything else out, which is completely normal. I'm talented in this way, but I think that he's probably not given a presentation on Zoom, and so he's probably not as familiar with how that works.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. And also, this Sunday, are you going to be part of this discussion on Muhammad um, with Dr. Sabeel?
I should be.
Okay.
And I did actually watch the entire presentation. Sabeel talks a little bit more slowly than I do. So I was actually able to watch the presentation at like 2 times speed. And by the time we got to the Q&A portion, I was actually in real time. How wild is that? Because I started at like 40 minutes past the hour. Um, and yeah, as I said, by the time we got to the Q&A, I was actually in real time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate it. He really appreciates when you're there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I mean, look, I really value a lot of what he's doing. I might not agree with the positions he takes. I think, for example, um, he used an argument that I find particularly repugnant when it comes to rape, um,
Yeah,
because basically his argument is that rape is more common in Western countries, and it's because of the lack of spirituality and a variety of other factors. Um, good evening, Patty. Um, and a variety of other factors. And the basic issue that I have with this claim is that it's not that rape is actually more common in Western countries. That's not the case at all. It's that rape is actually reported in Western countries. You have numerous issues, like, for example, marital rape is a crime in pretty much every Western country. It is not a crime in almost any Muslim majority country. Um, and there are more Muslim majority countries than Western countries. So this is not like a sampling error. Um, and marital rape is when a husband rapes his wife or a wife rapes her husband without, like, obviously with that's sex without consent.
right.
Because the idea in most traditional societies is that a husband and a wife have a right to conjugal um, permissions with the other, right? There's no need to request permission. You have that as a right. In Western societies, we don't believe that. We believe that women and men have agency over their bodies, regardless of whether they're in a marriage or not. Sweden has a number of things that they count as rape that aren't counted as rape in any country but Sweden, in terms of the specific touching or fondling or whatever. And so, and then on the flip side, in Muslim majority countries, you have many cases where rape victims have reported that when they go to the police, they are in turn raped by the police officers.
Oh, wow.
So, because these stories get spread around and the NGOs have tabulated this, people don't report it because what's the worst that can happen is exactly what happens. So it's using the statistics and not understanding why those statistics look the way they do. Um, I find that a really bad argument. But I understand what he's trying to do, and what he's trying to do is he's trying to say that there may be something missing from Western civilization that Islam can contribute.
Yes. I mean, and it could be an argument for all the religions, right?
Sure,
After
but
that,
but I
yeah,
would argue that nobody is trying to make halakha the official law of Israel, except maybe a couple minority parties in the Knesset,
right.
and nobody is trying to make canon law the official law of any Western country. There are cases where people are trying to instantiate canon law in Latin America, and I oppose that thoroughly. Um, the thing is, it's not like the traditional Muslim view would be the equivalent of our evangelicals. Some are apolitical, some are political, but it's a very devout perspective, and that's the dominant view in most Muslim majority societies. And so we should be aware of that when we're talking about a moral Islamic solution.
Right. No, yeah, I understand. One thing I liked about his argument that we should value our bodies and therefore, be more healthier and eat well. I mean, eat well meaning not eat everything, meaning eat healthy.
Yeah, no, I agree. This is a Muslim argument. There are echoes of it in Judaism and Christianity as well. It's the idea that your body is not your possession. Your body is the possession of the Almighty, and accordingly, you do not have certain rights over your body, meaning that you don't have the right to destroy your body. You don't have the right to harm your body. You don't have the right to profane your body, because it is itself a gift to you, not something that you own and have complete autonomy over. So, I mean, in Judaism, this manifests, of course, with the prohibition on incisions and tattoos. It manifests in the prohibition on organ donation, except to living people. It manifests in all kinds of other similar issues. And in Islam, it manifests when it comes to alcohol and drinking and overeating and all these kinds of health issues, which it's I think it's really fantastic that they've come to that conclusion, that these are actually forms of self-harm as well.
You want me to admit anybody and make them co-organizers? Or
I mean, I mean, Pat, I gave Patty the ability to speak so she can help us.
Joe, you want Joyce?
I think of the people here, I prefer to leave it as it is. Maybe if Aaron joins, make him a co-host, but yeah. So Patty, how have you been?
Hi, Patty.
Hi there, guys. I have been good, actually. We just, although it's not massively amazing, we just broke a temperature record here today, which is kind of, I think it was 96, but right on the ocean, that's pretty high. So yeah, it's been hot here.
Patty, so you come to almost every lecture now. Wow, it's amazing.
You guys are seductive, you know. All this history and philosophy, just
philosophy, history, amazing. You came to the Acadian, you come to the Richards one, come to Jason. Oh my God, you're so good.
I don't know about good, but I always find connections among a lot of things. I think it's kind of just the way I think, and there's a lot of interesting stuff going on amongst you guys.
Now, and of course, there's no wrong answers. Which of us is the best presenter?
Well, Richard, I think we covered that a little bit. As I've noticed, I mean, almost everybody in the world thinks, or at least in the Western world, thinks they're excellent multitaskers, but you are among the few people that I will give that title to. You really do multitask well. I'm always amazed watching you conduct your lecture and answer questions and read the screen and all the things you're doing at once.
He's a Caesar of our time.
He's what?
Thank you, guys.
Caesar.
Yes. Yes. I mean, don't you find him impressive, Zach?
I am.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely by far my numero uno here.
Well, yeah. I mean,
this is his as much as mine. So.
Everybody walks around thinking that they are performing top-notch multitasking. And to me, most people are really screwing up big time most of the time. So, and I don't mean that as a criticism. I'm saying, gee, maybe you should just try doing one of these things at a time and you might enjoy them more. You know, parenting is one of those things, and you kind of need to concentrate on parenting and not be trying to do 17 other things.
Yeah, I'm going to give people about one more minute to show up, and then we, because we usually start at 7:07, so that's sort of what we're waiting for.
Oh yeah, you had mentioned tattoos a minute ago, Richard. I had started to type, but then you asked me to unmute. Yeah, even in the United States, I mean, tattoos had an unsavory reputation until very, very recently. I mean,
but I mean, like, there are cultures around the world. The first one that comes to mind is the people of Polynesia, right? Where, or like the Maori of New Zealand, where they actually have a historic tradition of using metal implements to actually raise the position of the skin.
Yes.
And so they actually have these carvings in their own flesh. There's no blood that comes out because it's still skin. Right. They're not cutting anything, they're pushing. But like in those cultures, those tattoos actually have a lot of value. And that was the tradition that was co-opted by Western tattooing.
Okay, because you were talking about the idea that one's body does not belong to the person; it belongs to the
The
higher
divinity.
power or God or
Yeah.
whoever. But yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people alive now don't realize how a lot of those things were really major cultural influences until very recently. A lot of people alive now think that the way people are living now has always been. So it sort of blows me away. Being again, I'm older than you guys think I am. So
I saw you when you were talking to Dr. Sabeel. So I actually thought you were until I saw you, I thought you were much younger than because you do sound very young, which is nice. But anyway, Mark, you asked me if I've heard of Otzi's tattoos. I haven't. I'm not as familiar with that side of the world. I know a few things, but not much. Anyway, I think it's time to begin.